Hey, what's up? It's been a month. I actually didn't mean to take a whole month off of uploading on my channel, but it just happened, alright? It just happened. It is currently the 18th of July in the UK. We are currently going through a heat wave and I do have my window open. This is not the original point I was going to make, but I do have my window open and it's really hot. So if you hear any noise, it's because of that. I'm going to commit arson.
Hey, listen!
I've been waiting to film for the past like 40 minutes because they won't stop playing music this loud. I can literally hear it vibrating my walls. So please ignore the fact that I just said my window was open. It is no longer open. Anyway, it is summer here in the UK and I work in a bar. I'm a bartender and we get quite busy in my particular bar in the summer months when it is really warm. So that is kind of like consuming my life, and I haven't really like read a lot of stuff in the summer like I thought I would. I'm proud of myself because I've been working a bunch and I still managed to read quite a lot this summer and also in the year so far. I know we are like over halfway through the year right now, but I thought I would like kind of come back. I'm not sure how consistent this comeback will be, but I thought I'd make the mid-year freak out tag just because I just felt like it, and I feel like it would be a good way to get out of my current reading slump. Yeah, I'm in another one. I read a lot of good books and now I just feel like nothing's gonna, you know, pique my interest like those books have. I read 3 5-star books in a row, I'm pretty sure, and I just can't see myself enjoying reading anything else. But also I thought that it might, you know, spring me back into the things of talking about books and reading books and just coming back to BookTube and just kind of evaluating what I've read so far and what I still need to read this year. I'm sure you all know the drill by now, but we have 13 questions to go through. I'm sure you've seen everyone and their mother do this recently, but I thought I'd just add to that and I hope that you enjoy. So our first question is the best book that I have read so far in 2021. I am extra and I have 3 answers for this. I have just said that I read 3 5-star books, that was a mouthful to say, in a row, and I'd say that those 3 are gunning it out for my top book of this year of 2021. These are in particular Take a Hint, Danny Brown by Talia Hibbert, Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, and also Evelyn Hugo, or Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Evelyn Hugo was a reread for me, so I don't know if I'll count this, but I did have a better reading experience reading this a second time around this year because I didn't read Daisy Jones or any other Taylor Jenkins Reid's books beforehand. I just kind of enjoyed Evelyn Hugo for what it was on its own, and I'm really glad I did this. I read about the audiobook, so I changed up the format as well. I just had a really good reading experience with this and I give it 5 out of 5 stars. The 2 others that aren't rereads are Take a Hint, Danny Brown by Talia Hibbert. This is probably one of the most hyped books on BookTube right now. We are basically following Danica Brown, who is basically this like, you know, she is the embodiment of a Capricorn woman. She absolutely loves her career and she has so much ambition and drive, and she basically goes through life without having any romantic connections because she feels like it slows her down, it gets in her way, and then she manifests a friends with benefits, like a perfect fuck buddy sort of thing from the universe, and the universe delivers. The universe sends her Zaf, who is this like ex-rugby star, and they have like a fake dating relationship that obviously turns real, and oh my god, I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It was fucking incredible. I love this book so fucking much. I have a full good review of this if you want to see like my thoughts and breakdown and stuff, but I thought the execution was excellent. I thought the characters were brilliant. I thought, you know, that the actual story itself was really good, and some of the commentary on this as well was just perfect. Perfection. I loved it so much. And my third best book I think that I'm going to answer this question with is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. 3 very different books. I absolutely love this. It's about our nameless main character who marries Maxim de Winter and becomes his new wife, but his wife kind of like haunts everything that he does in his new house and stuff. That's a very like vague description of the plot and stuff, and so much other stuff happened. I was at the edge of my seat literally from the moment I picked up this book. I could not stop thinking about it. I did read it via audiobook in the end because I found that the main copy, my physical copy, has had so much fluff and like just filler in it that the audiobook was just a better reading experience for me personally. 3 very different books I all gave 5 stars to. Absolutely incredible. These 3 books, absolute chef kit. I could not pick one, so I had to give you all 3. The next question is the best sequel I've read so far this year, and it has to go to Chain of Iron from Cassandra Clare, which is the 2nd book in the Last Hours series. So the Last Hours basically follows the Shadowhunters, who are these like angelic beings who fight demons to keep mundane safe, and there's a whole roster of books in the Shadowhunter Chronicles, and to be honest, these Last Hour books aren't my favourites. It's basically like a sequel in itself, the whole series, because it's like a sequel follow-up from the Clockwork books, Infernal Devices. It's very confusing if you've never read them before or you don't know about them. I just feel like this series isn't up to scratch, to be honest. I like the first, I don't know, I'm kind of like indecisive with that. I'm actually in my mind on that as well, but I just feel like they just aren't what I want them to be, personally. But Chain of Iron is definitely one of the best sequels I've read this year because I haven't read that many. So it kind of got it by default. The next question, number 3, is a new release I haven't read yet, but I really would like to. Now I have 2 in particular for this, one that I own and one that I don't own. The one that I do own is Heartstopper Volume 4 by Alice Oseman. I still haven't read this. I was gonna reread the entire series because I'm an idiot and every time a new release is put out for a series, I have to read all of the past books just to have as much knowledge as I possibly can going into the new book. I don't know why I do it. It's like fucking self-sabotage. But Heartstopper Volume 4, I was gonna reread all of the series. It is a graphic novel series about Nick and Charlie, who are some queer teens. It isn't just about them, it's about their whole like cast of characters and their friends and stuff, all being queer teenagers, like coming out and coming of age and stuff. It's really cute, very sweet, can be a bit fluffy in places, and I'm glad that we're getting a little bit more substance in Charlie and Nick's relationship in the 3rd volume. I hope that carries on to Volume 4, but I won't know because I haven't read it yet. The other one, the one that I don't own, is Call for the Summer by Dahlia Adler, and I really would like to read this. It sounds fucking phenomenal, but it is sold out absolutely everywhere. According to the Goodreads synopsis, Laura had eyes for exactly one person through her 3 years of high school chase, but now she's kind of confused because she seems to be crushing on Jasmine, who is a woman, and I think this is about self-discovery, coming of age again. There's a little bit of a theme here. I love coming of age queer novels. It's just my shit. I really would like to read this. I've heard nothing but good things. It does have a little bit of a lower rating on Goodreads than I was expecting, but I still would like to read it nonetheless, and I hope that it becomes in stock somewhere that I can buy it. The next question, number 4, is the most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Honestly, I don't really keep up with new releases that often, so I actually don't know what is coming out in the next couple months. I'm sure I'll find out as and when I go, but I just don't really have one. I'm gonna skip this question. Next is number 5, biggest disappointment of this year, and I'm definitely gonna have to say Fledgling by Octavia E. Butler. I read this for the second round of Filmathon that I was hosting, and it was such a disappointment. It put me in a massive reading slump, and I was just so fucking done. So Fledgling is basically a vampire-esque horror novel, obviously written by Black author Octavia E. Butler, which I was very excited about. I've heard nothing but praise for Butler. I have heard that they are an amazing writer, but this one just wasn't it, chief. Maybe I would enjoy some of her other works I'm willing to try, but this one just didn't sit right with me. Fledgling is exactly what it says on the tin. It is about a fledgling vampire. We are basically following Shori, I think her name is, and she has just woken up as like a brand new vampire, and she has no memory of what is going on. She meets the main love interest, and this guy is so creepy. When I tell you he gives me like vibes, I'm gonna tell you he gives me fucking vibes. I would not trust him to hold my drink at a party. I definitely would fucking not, and Shori should not trust him as much as she does. This main character, the way that she meets him is absolutely disgusting, and I just feel like the constant reference to paedophilia and how young Shori is and how she's like, he calls her like child and little girl and stuff, and he's really old, and she's supposed to be like 200 and something. I mean, she is a vampire, but it's just the terminology and the way that Octavia like describes their relationship to be paedophilic and all about her innocence. It just really just rubbed me up the wrong way, and I had to DNF. It was such a big disappointment, and I just couldn't move past that. Obviously this is dark romance, and it was kind of my bad for going into a dark romance, maybe not knowing it was going to be that dark, but I just didn't like it. And what I mean, going back to my original point of like what I mean by the fact that Shori meets the main character, like the main love interest, in a creepy way, is the fact that he doesn't know how old she is, she has no memory, and he believes that she's a minor and still sleeps with her, not knowing that she's a vampire and not knowing that she is actually 200 years old. That is what got me the wrong way. It was just, no. I felt so sick and I just could not. Again, I'm kind of more willing to try Octavia E. Butler's other works, but Fledgling for me was a huge disappointment, and I could not get over the paedophilia references. It just was too much and a massive disappointment for me. I'm sorry, I did not like that. Number 6 is Biggest Surprise, and I have to go for Pet Sematary by Stephen King for this one. This was not on my TBR, but I read it for my Mother's Day vlog. Basically, I read 2 of my mum's favourite books for Mother's Day, and it was a really nice vlog. I really enjoyed the video. I enjoyed both of the books that were included in the vlog, and I really like Pet Sematary by Stephen King. So much so that I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I had no intention of reading any Stephen King, let alone specifically Pet Sematary this year, and I fucking loved it. It was one of the best books of this year. I would have put it for question 1, but I thought three answers were pushing it a little bit, but you know, this has got to be up there. I have done nothing but think about this book ever since I read it. I've done nothing but talk about it. It has just been on my mind 24/7. If you don't know what Pet Sematary is about and you're living under a literal fucking rock, it is about a family of people who move in to this new house on a very busy main road, and it is quite known that a lot of death happens across this main road, and there's a pet cemetery which may or may not be magical and bring things back from the dead. So Louis and his family have a very complicated relationship with death, and him and his wife Rachel exclusively, they have very different experiences of what death is. She was a sister and her sister died, and she's still mourning, like, you know, the effects of that, and kind of like guilt and shame and thinking that it was actually her fault. And then Louis is a doctor, so he deals with death every single day, but he kind of just like disconnects from the idea of death, and it's only when it starts happening to him more personally in his personal life that he starts to unravel with grief and do things that he maybe not used to or supposed to, or things that he would never have thought about doing in the face of grief because it never was so personal for him. I fucking love this book. It is so good. The conversation around death and things, it was just unbelievable. And what made it creepier for me was the fact that my auntie loved this book and she has now passed away, and it felt like I was just like reading a part of her and she's like dead now. It was just so fucking strange and I loved it. It was so fucking good. I know that that's kind of like a unique reading experience, but oh my god, it was fucking fantastic. Oh my god, I was so fucking in awe of this book and I did not expect to be. It was such a fucking massive surprise. Number 7 is a favourite new to me author. It can either be debut or just new to me, and I'm gonna go with someone that is just new to me. I'd never read her before, and that is Talia Hibbert. I have read I think 2 books from her. I think this is the most I've read from someone apart from Cassie Clare, but they're all rereads, so it doesn't really count. But I have read a lot of Talia Hibbert this year, and I know that a lot of other people have too. And I fucking love Talia Hibbert's books. I've only read 2 of them, but I literally want to read everything else that she's ever written. I think everyone else has the same like idea of that. Everyone loves Talia Hibbert for a fucking good reason too. And I'm so glad I finally got around to like seeing that reason and reading her books, because she's fucking phenomenal. Next question is newest fictional crush. Now, I'm not really one to like fixate on fictional crushes. I mean, maybe I don't know, fucking know, but actually I do have one for this instance. One of my new fictional crushes is Adrian from Renegades. I have been reading the Renegades trilogy this year. I reread Renegades and I read Arch Enemies, and now I need to read Supernova, which we'll come back to later in the tag. But I have the biggest crush on Adrian ever. Like, genuinely love him so fucking much. I think that he is phenomenal. I think he's a great son, a great brother. I think that he has the best moral compass in the entire fucking series. I just love Adrian. Okay? Next, we've got newest favourite character. This comes from my read of The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I fucking love Harry Cameron. Harry fucking Cameron. One of Evelyn's best friends, one of her husbands, spoiler alert. Oh my god, I love him so much. I didn't know I did love him this much until I read the book. I would let Harry Cameron hold my drink at a party. Fuck it, he can pour them. Leading on from this answer, actually, number 10 is a book that made me cry this year, and actually not a lot have, but I definitely would say The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, my reread of it, definitely made me cry. I just feel like my reading experience this time around was just more special. It was more authentic. I just liked the book a lot more, and I just felt like more connected to the characters, more connected to the book in general. I just loved it, and I cried, okay? I cried like a fucking baby. Number 11 is a book that has made me happy, and I'm gonna go with When Dimple Met Rishi by Sandy Emma Nunn for this one. I again read this for the filmathon that I hosted, and I was literally like so happy about this. Basically, we follow Dimple and Rishi, who are in an arranged marriage. They are both Indian, they come from Indian backgrounds. Essentially, they go to like this summer camp, I think, for app development and coding and stuff. Dimple is very set in her ways, doesn't really want a relationship, and she doesn't really listen to her parents, but her parents really want her to have an arranged marriage and to just have a companion, basically. So they send Rishi over to the summer camp to work with her, and they end up bonding in unexpected ways, and it was just such a very fluffy, funny book, but also it deals with a lot of heavy topics like arranged marriage, knowing that your family want what is best for you, whether to listen to them or not, you know, religion, sexuality, all these different things. I'm really glad that it was able to have these conversations while also being really lighthearted and fluffy, and I was really interested to find out more about Indian culture and relationships. I know this is just a YA book, and you know, a lot of research is needed, more than just reading YA or any book in like fiction book in general, but I was really excited to see some faces that I had never read from before in YA fiction, and I really aimed to do more and make more of a conscious effort to read more from these voices. It was really interesting and I really enjoyed myself, and it made me quite happy. It was very good. Number 12 is one of the most beautiful books I have either bought or received this year. One of the most beautiful books I have either bought or received this year has to be one of the ones I have received in a Books That Matter box. How Much of These Hills Is Gold by C. Pam Zhang. I don't like the title of this. It is grammatically incorrect and it fucking annoys me every single time, but this cover is fucking gorgeous. Look at this fucking cover. It is covered in gold. It is this green, like, oh, it's so fucking pretty, and I had to show it to you. It is one of the most prettiest books I've ever seen, period, let alone just received this year. I am so obsessed with this, and I hope the material inside is as good as the cover, because oh my goodness, it is fucking stunning. It's gorgeous. It's fucking gorgeous. And the last question is, what are some of the books you need to read by the end of the year? I've decided to go ahead and pick a handful, so I've picked 5 books that I really would like to get to by the end of the year. One of which is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. This is basically about a library which is like kind of like purgatory, I think. I've heard about a main character, a protagonist who is suicidal, and so she gets sent to the Midnight Library to kind of like relive her life or read about it in different ways, and it kind of like changes her perspective on things and makes her want to live. And I really would like to read this because I feel like it could have a really big impact on me, like emotionally and personally. Next is Supernova, which is the last book in the Renegade trilogy. I have talked about this before in a little bit when I was talking about Adrian. I need to read this, but I've heard so many bad things about it, some polarizing things about the ending to this and how it's just not how people wanted it to go. Obviously I'm gonna read it and create my own opinions and stuff, but I'm really nervous to read this and I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it, but we'll see. Next, I really would like to carry on my trajectory with reading non-fiction, and to be honest, my slump right now has kind of pushed me more towards non-fiction works. I just read The Fuck It Diet by Caroline Dooner, which was really fucking good. This like reading slump I've got has kind of like pushed me more towards non-fiction reads like The Fuck It Diet, and I really would like to read How to Be an Anti-Racist. I've heard so many things about this that are fantastic from both people of colour and white people as well in learning about how to be anti-racist, because in our social climate right now, it is not enough, point blank period, to be just not racist. We need to be actively anti-racist, and I think this book is going to be a really good starting point for me. So I'm really excited to read this and be educated. It might be a hard read, but it's going to be something that is really important. It has amazing reviews on Goodreads and other platforms as well. I'm just really excited to educate myself and just to always be better in myself, and there's always more knowledge to learn, and I'm really excited to read this and get into that. Next on my list of things I still have yet to read this year are Felix Ever After, which is by Kaysen Callender. This is basically all about a transgender teen grappling with identity and self-discovery while falling in love for the first time. I am so excited about this. This just seems to be one of those books that I'm gonna absolutely fucking adore because it's gonna be my thing. It's gonna be queer, coming of age, about romance, and I'm just so fucking excited. The last one on this little list, these little 5 that I really would like to get to in the end of the year, was My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. Now, I have heard some dark things about this. So this is all about Vanessa, who I believe is like, you know, in school of some kind. Maybe it's uni, maybe it's college, maybe it's just school. And it's not until she leaves school that she realizes that she was groomed by her English teacher. And all these other students are coming out and saying their experiences, and she's kind of still in denial about that. And it's just about their relationship, the psychology of their relationship, and how damaging it was for Vanessa in, you know, realizing that she was actually abused and groomed. I don't think I'm 100% ready just yet, but I do want to read this by the end of the year because I feel like it's one of those reads that again are gonna be very difficult, but personally for me, very much so fucking needed. I can relate to this on like another plane, another level. I feel like I just need to read it. You know those books where you just feel like the universe is just like, yep, that one, read that one. And it looks at me on my shelves every single time I walk past them, and I'm like looking for something to read. I need to read this ASAP. Kind of ending on a little bit of a dark note there. That is my mid-year freakout tag for 2021. Let me know if you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and my channel, subscribe. I'm really sorry that I took like a month break. I was very busy with work and I just haven't been reading. I haven't really been doing much of anything apart from working. I'm gonna try my hardest to have like little breaks here and now to make content and to actually read, but obviously no promises. I'm not gonna pressure myself to do things. But yes, I'm sorry that I took a month break without actually meaning to. I really hope that I can consistently upload again, but I'm not actually sure. There's no pressure. I'm just going to try my best, and I hope that you guys watch whatever I post. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. But for now, I hope that you enjoy any books that you pick up or any productive activities that you manage to do. Outros are hard. I make it hard for myself every single time, but I hope you enjoy, and I hope to see you again soon. Goodbye.